The following hedge fund video has been brought to you by the HFG. The hedge fund group provides premium service, along with online training and certification for hedge funds, called the Certified Hedge Fund Professional, also known as the CHP designation.
Hello, this is Richard Wilson, and today we're going to talk about the importance of governance best practices for hedge funds. In my recent book, we had a whole chapter on governance best practices because I think it's such an important topic. It is related to becoming a more institutional quality firm, which everybody talks about because everybody knows that the institutional investors typically only invest in people that meet a certain checkbox mentality, and having leading proactive governance can be a competitive advantage in the hedge fund industry, where everybody is interested in transparency, everybody at some level kind of distrusts other parties in the industry until they've done their due diligence. So having this type of governance is really going to assure investors that you have their best interests in mind. One of the most important things about having good governance procedures in place is to have separations of certain duties, like having the operational or like the risk manager separated from the portfolio manager. It's also about having just general best practice financial controls in place. There's many consultants out there that work in the hedge fund industry and other industries that can help you put in place basic financial controls so that you at least have some level of checks and balances in how things are approved, such as payments to service providers, wire transfers, redemptions. There should be some thorough checks in that area and documented so that investors can see that there's proper governance in place. And I think that the biggest takeaway, from interviewing people in the area of governance and consulting and risk management, the most important thing that I've found hedge funds can do is to form an independent board, a governance board, which takes the side of an investor. These are non-executive board members that take the perspective and the side of the investor and protect the investor's interest within the hedge fund. So the board might meet on a monthly basis and then meet for a longer period, maybe in person on a quarterly basis. And they can help by looking at when gating clauses are enacted and helping control that. Look at hurdle rates, making sure those aren't adjusted at strategic times. Looking at performance reporting, who's chosen as service providers, why certain costs are taking, what the expense ratio is within the fund. They can look at many different things with a more critical eye and vote on approving or not approving certain actions in ways that I think investors really appreciate, and lots of hedge funds are not doing this right now. Lots of large ones are, lots of small, medium-sized ones are not, and this is one thing that can really help your hedge fund stand out as being proactively well-governed. So that pretty much covers what I wanted to talk about today. The main takeaways are that governance is very important. It should be something that your team is studying and improving, whether you look to work in a hedge fund or you already run a hedge fund. Look at putting strong financial controls in place. Think separation of duty and checks and balances. And then third, probably most important, look at possibly creating, at least at some point, a board that is looking at things, an independent board of non-executives that look at things from the investor's perspective and make sure that the investor's best interests are always at least taken into consideration while decisions are being made inside the hedge fund. So thank you for your time today, and we'll see you again soon.